A rally is going ahead in Paris to honour the death of a black man who died in police custody back in 2016. That is despite it being banned by French officials. Police intervened with one of the protest leaders and scuffles broke out. Earlier, a court hearing failed to overrule a ban on the march in northwest Paris. Another protest is also being held in Marseille over the police killing of a teenager named Nahel 2 weeks ago. His death sparked protests and riots all across France. Let's go to Hoda Abdel-Hamid now in Marseille. Hoda, so we had days and days of protests as a result of the death of that teenager. Then things died down. Does it feel like protests could be really kicking off again?
Well, actually, here in Marseille, I think the turnout has been quite small. I mean, the march just went by. Right now here, there was maybe 200 to 300 people. Now, the organizers actually wanted to do this in the city center where those riots unfolded just last weekend, but that was denied from police. So they started actually from Belmay, which is one of the poorest neighborhoods in France. But if you look at the makeup of the protesters, you had very little representations of youth from those difficult neighborhoods, very few youth that come from sort of African or North African background who were accused being spearheading those riots last week. But the message is the same. The message is against police brutality. Now everybody's talking about Nahel, that young man who was killed in Nanterre near Paris, and that sparked all that wave of anger across the country. Where here in Marseille, people are waiting to hear about another young man who received a rubber bullet last weekend during the riots. There's footage of him who shows him really sitting on his moped and filming the riots with his mobile phone while he received this rubber bullet and eventually, shortly later, collapsed. There's an investigation underway, but that is something that is actually infuriating people here. They're waiting to see the results of that. And the message coming out of these protests is that pattern happens over and over again, has been going on for decades, is getting worse, and that police needs to be reined in. And on the other hand, you had during this little march here, you had mothers of young men who had been killed in their neighborhoods because of the violence in their neighborhoods. And so people are also saying, when are you going to come and protect us? When are you going to come and protect our children? So certainly a symbolic march to represent, to denounce police lack of action in certain ways and too much action in other times, but also a message, but not one where there was a turnout. And I think it's simply because following the riots last weekend, there was a lot of finger pointing towards those communities. Many opinions in those communities were actually quite mixed. Many people said that the riots didn't actually bring any purpose and didn't honor the memory of this Nahel. So I think now the attitude of people coming from those areas is let's just wait and see and be on the margins so we don't get accused again.
Thank you for that. Hoda Abdel-Hamid there for us in Marseille. Let's turn now to Paris. We were just looking at some live pictures from there where we're expecting a rally to go ahead in Paris to honour the death of a black man who died in police custody back in 2016. We can speak to Paul Rhys. Paul, what are we expecting where you are?
Well, as you say, this demonstration has actually been banned by the French authorities. It's gone ahead anyway. You can maybe just see a young woman climbing down from the bus stop here. This is Assa Traoré, the sister of Adama Traoré, who died after being arrested by police in 2016. Now, this march takes place every year on the 19th of July to commemorate Adama Traoré and has become a symbol of protest against alleged against police brutality, police racism in France. Now, it was meant to take place in Val d'Oise, north of Paris, but it was banned by the authorities. So Assa Traoré, who has now climbed down, decided to hold it in Place de la République in the centre of Paris instead. That was banned this morning, but she arrived anyway. Now, there have been riot police circling the demonstrators in République all day. She gave a press conference, and afterwards she was manhandled by the police as her supporters tried to get her along to this demonstration. But they've managed to make the journey up from Place de la République up to here, where Assa Traoré's been addressing the crowd, saying that these killings are based on police prejudice, police brutality, and racism. The police didn't want it to go ahead because they believe it will inflame tensions and lead to some of the rioting we saw in the wake of the killing of Nahel nearly 2 weeks ago. On the other hand, the protesters have said, well, if you don't let us protest, then tensions are just going to get worse. It seems that we've had the worst of both worlds, because people here are pretty angry that their voices have tried to be quieted.
Thank you for that. Paul Rhys there for us in Paris.